Rayshawn Davis decommits from LSU. It is not over by any means of the imagination or any means of, his own words. From what he's told me, LSU's still in the mix heavy. It's almost just like he set it on pause. Just like, you know what? Until you guys figure out who's going to be that defensive coordinator, we're going to put you on pause. It wasn't the scandal or the allegations that made him decommit, and I know that for a fact. It wasn't any other things, Coach Orgeron or the performance of 2020. What made him decommit was purely Bo Pelini's firing. He wanted to know if Alec Osborne was going to stay on staff as the linebackers coach, because Alec Osborne is the guy who brought Rayshawn Davis to LSU. I don't think that's really been reported by Go 24/7 or any of those other people, but considering I've actually talked to Rayshawn Davis's family and him, he's told me that nonstop for the last year. Alec Osborne, Alec Osborne, Alec Osborne. He's the linebackers coach there at LSU, a huge Pelini disciple. He's a fantastic guy. I think hopefully he will stay on staff. And Pelini is actually the linebackers coach / defensive coordinator, and Alec Osborne was his assistant with the linebackers. But for me, I'm technically just going to call him the linebackers coach. Let's hope he becomes a linebackers coach because A, he's great at his job, and B, hopefully that can pull Raesjon back here to LSU. But as far as January 2nd, there's just two huge recruits who are going to be committing on that day. Not only will we be seeing Tristan Lee commit, offensive lineman out of Fairfax, Virginia, Robinson secondary. We will also be seeing Korey Foreman commit. And I've got some hunches. I've got some takes. I think we're going to see Korey Foreman most likely go to USC and group up with Rayshawn Davis. I've been thinking that it's going to be Clemson for a while, if not LSU, just because I just couldn't fathom why he would want to go to USC. But now, if he's being joined by Rayshawn Davis, a dude who he really wants to play with, and Rayshawn equally, he really, really, really wants to play with Korey Foreman. They're really close SoCal buddies. They will most likely stay at USC, especially considering Rayshawn Davis has been told by USC they're going to break out the number 5. They're going to unretire that number and let Raesjon wear the number 5. Not only is Reggie Bush his favorite player of all time, but number 5 is his chosen number outside of number 32. If he could wear one at USC, it would be number 5. That has enticed him big time. But no retiring of numbers or anything like that is going to make him, commit to a school. What's making him commit to a school is comfort, family, ability to win championships, ability to put him in a posture that will send him to the highest NFL echelon. And Rayshawn Davis doesn't need that from USC. I think he could easily get that from LSU. I really believe that LSU is still in that mix. I really believe that LSU is either 1 or 2. I think he's going back and forth day by day. And I think where Korey Foreman is going has a lot to do with it. I think if Korey Foreman is going to USC, that could pull Raysjon to USC no matter how much he or his family want to go to LSU. I think
Korey Foreman's the number 1 rated player in the country by most services, 247 Sports Composite. Right now, their crystal ball has USC over Clemson. Strong side defensive end, 6'4", 265. So number 1 across the board. You got Tristan Lee. We've talked about him a number of times. You've delivered his scouting report, 4th rated offensive tackle, number 1 rated player in Virginia.
Wait. 4th rated offensive tackle?
That's what I've got listed here for Tristan Lee.
Who's doing these rankings or these ratings? Like, Tristan, if you're watching this, dude, LSU is saying you're the number 1. Like, that's all we say. You're number 1, bro. Like, go with where the love is, man. It's like, come on. 4th rated offensive tackle. Are you kidding me? He's a top 10 overall player. You put this guy on LSU's offensive line in 2020 as a senior in high school, and he's bullying SEC players. I guarantee you, this guy has an aggression, has a steely vibe, and here's the thing. Football, more than anything, is not about size. It's not about speed. It's not about athleticism. A lot of times it can be. But what it is about most of all, Mark, is pure drive, pure effort, pure will, pure want to. Just, do you want it more than the other guy? Are you going to give more than the other guy? You know, I've been in those plays where you're just like locked with a dude and you're just like, you don't know who's going to give that leverage up. And suddenly it just gives. There's times you've been on the losing ends of that. There's times you've been on the winning end sides of that. Tristan Lee, all I see is him on the winning side of that. And that's ingrained from him. His mother's struggles, his family, you know, those things are in his heart when he plays. He's playing for his mother. He's playing for his family. He's playing for that family crest. His father, you know, he played at the University of Virginia, was a fantastic, fantastic player. This is a football family. It's not just Tristan. It's also Aiden as well. Aiden is another 6'4", 200 and something pounds, and he's only 14. Get this guy an offer. And LSU beat everybody to the punch. LSU offered him before Oklahoma, before everybody else, because it's not just Tristan. We want Aiden as well. The Lees are a family force. Korey Foreman, you know, LSU's line is already solid to me, their D-line. Savion Jones is the true #1 defensive end in America. We already have him on staff. On roster. The one thing I would say is he hasn't committed yet, but don't let that worry you. He's a silent commit. He wants to commit with his entire St. James team in February when they do it together. That's the type of classy kid he is. He's waiting to do it with the rest of his historic local team, because St. James were unbelievable in 2019. They destroyed everybody, and some of the numbers he assisted in were just crazy. He had something like 90 tackles as a DE. Like, what? That's absolutely savage. I think it was 28 tackles for loss that he had, 13 sacks, pass deflections, interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 6 fumble recoveries, defensive touchdowns as well. Savion Jones is the complete package, and whether we get Korey Foreman or not, Savion Jones is already that guy. And we got Landon Jackson, and B.J. Ojulari isn't going anywhere. Ali Gay isn't going anywhere for at least a year. LSU's defensive line for 2021 is going to be the best defensive line in America. Mark my words, Mark. I should have just said, my words, Mark.
You could have went that route. I'm checking the rankings just to make sure I didn't get this wrong. We got offensive tackle rankings, 247 Sports. J.C. Latham, #1, Alabama commit. Tommy Brockermeyer, #2, offensive tackle, Alabama commit. And Georgia commit, Amarius Mims at #3, Tristan Lee at #4. Just to make sure I didn't get that wrong.
No, I was sure you had it right, because that's how they do it.
Then again, Rayshawn Davis out of Santa Ana, California. So LSU trying to get a couple California guys out of there. But Rayshawn Davis, 4th ranked at his position, #3 in California, and he's a top 45 player in the country.
And that's just insane. This is the #1 linebacker in America, and they took his 5-star from him without even playing a game. He was a 5-star. They took that 5-star, downgraded him to a 4-star. And I think it's all just because he committed to LSU, because there's a theme with LSU commits. They are 5-stars, and suddenly they commit to LSU, and then they're a 4-star. I know there's a lot of bagmen going around into Rivals and Go 24/7, and they're coming out of Tuscaloosa, and that's fine. And this isn't a conspiracy time. This is true. This is how it's done. Money has changed hands with these services for better rankings, for higher positions, and Alabama's the best at the game right now. They're ahead of the curve. You can see the vehicles that their new commits get the day that they commit. Suddenly they have a giant new Challenger straight out of the shop, a vehicle that many journalists who are covering these guys can't afford. And yet suddenly this 18-year-old has this Charger. Interesting, Saban. But at the same time, LSU, it's about to become the Wild West in recruiting, Mark. No one understands what's about to come. Transfer, you're going to see players play for maybe even 2-3 different schools within their 3 or 4 years. Maybe even a school every different year. You're going to see guys winning a title in the SEC, maybe winning a title at USC next, maybe winning a title. You're going to see a lot of weirdness. There's going to be a lot of jockeying for position. It's going to be all about what can you do for these kids, not just what can it always used to be traditionally, what can you do for us? What will you bring to LSU? What can you do for your school? Be true to your school, the classic Beach Boys song. Well, now it's like we're too cool for school. We own the school, and you know what? That's fine, because guess what? Guess who's making these schools? These kids. Guess who's making these schools that type of money that they've never seen before? These kids. So if the laws and the rules, bend and go towards these kids, that's fine with me, because they're the ones making the money. They're the ones who should be making the decisions, considering it's their livelihoods on the line. And I would like to see more kids getting insurance policies from the schools, not just the top, not just the Tuas, the Joe Burrows, the big time stars. I want to see every kid on those rosters getting some sort of insurance policies.